Hey, Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Thank you. Thank you. Mystery School's in session. There's my baby Gabby. Yes, Gabby. I want to read something. Yeah, it's a sad day today. Today's 2 days into the autumnal equinox. Happy autumn, and it's also the day that Breonna Taylor, uh, justice has alluded. Kentucky now has let those murderers go scot free with murdering this. It's sad. I don't even want to talk about it. It's a heartache, and I'm sure one comforting thing is nobody doesn't survive their death. So don't grieve. Well, those who grieve are blessed are those that mourn. So yeah, it's a shame and a tragedy what happened, but it takes what it takes for us to understand what's going on. You know what went on in April through August of '68 was Uranus was in Virgo, Pluto was in Virgo, and then in April of that, see, April, May, June, June, Jupiter went into Virgo. And it's interesting how they're all in Earth signs now. Back then, they were Capricorn and Taurus. They were where they are now, preparing us for where we are now. So, as I said, this thing about the evangelical Farwell, that man's father and himself, were responsible for so many suicides and horrible deaths of gay, lesbian, and transgender people up until like just recently, because of as I said, I knew a kid once. I helped him get situated into helped him get welfare and disability going. I was walking my dog and I found him dumpster diving. He was in his early 20s. He had been thrown out of his home in Kentucky at 14 because he was gay and living on the streets of San Francisco and other cities, and until he finally died. But at least he died in the comfort of a nice place. But as I said, so that's just one story. But these people were so the Farwells, they were partaking in gay sex or some kind of weird sex, and yet nobody on any network TV or anything did anything but make it into a joke. I didn't find anything humorous. Even Bill Maher, I thought would be appalled. I thought he was a friend of the gay lesbian, or maybe they're just obtuse. Maybe they just don't understand what we had to go through. The gay lesbian community. I mean, these people would say if you have a gay child, you're better off killing them. They're better off dead. Literally, it was that horrible. It was. And so, as I said, this Brianna's killing was, but the gay community, back in the '60s, they didn't even talk about transgender murders. They didn't even make it on the news. It was sort of like a blessing, well, yeah, they don't deserve to live, So we've come a long way. We've come a long way. The paradigm is changing. So yeah, welcome to my world. We've been dealing with murders, horrible murders. Gay people were murdered, tortured a lot of times. You don't understand. None of the media gets this. You have to, unless you live through it and actually knew people that were died by, what was that guy in Arizona who was tied to a tortured and died. They made a whole big thing. I can't remember his name now. A young, beautiful young man. Yeah. So as I said, the gay community has been dealing with what the black community has been dealing with since the gate. So I'm personally. This is personal for me. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong, and we got to stop this. And so yeah. So what's going on come election day? Mercury comes to a standstill at 2553 Libra on Tuesday morning. Having been retrograde since October 13th at the time of its station, Mercury is tightly squared Saturn, a window of opportunity, currently at 2622 Capricorn. See, so Saturn's approaching our Pluto. This is Saturn every 30 years goes around the wheel. Remember, the planets don't make things happen to us, they simply reflect what's going on. And so this Mercury tightly squaring, even though it's in Scorpio, tightly squaring Saturn, currently at 26 Capricorn, an aspect that was exact on Sunday, and this again, we're talking November 3rd, again on Friday. Since this election day this is election day in the United States coming up on this day, we can anticipate delays either in the voting process or in counting ballots. Accurate results in contested races may not be available until after November 19th, when Mercury emerges from its post-retrograde shadow phase, 11 degrees Scorpio. Some of the mix-ups start to be apparent mid-afternoon on election day, when Gemini moon squares Neptune, a Venus-Uranus quinux at 8 degrees Capricorn Taurus that perfects at 6:21 p.m. is further indication of a divisive situation. So yes, we can count on it. Like you can count the sun's going to go up tomorrow morning. You could count on election day. There's going to be something's fishy in Denmark. Something's rotten in Denmark, as they used to say. So yes, this administration is mob mentality there. I know it's so important to remind yourself what FDR said. You know, we must especially beware of the small group of selfish men who would clip the wings off the American eagle in order to feather their own nests. Sorry, Gabby. I know she didn't like that. Hey, there she is. Yeah, all this Capricorn energy is 18 degrees Capricorn is America's second house, money house. So this is all happening in our money house, second house, all close to our Pluto. And then on December this year, just a couple of months from now, December 21st, Jupiter and Saturn will be 0 degrees Aquarius. Jupiter hasn't been in Aquarius for 12 years and Saturn 30. So we are literally on the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Let me pick a few cards for you all and see what I got going on for you. Clear some energy there. Yeah, so happy vernal equinox. Yeah, it would have been nice if RBG had stuck around for a couple of more weeks even. But as I said, this was a blessing. Remember, the shamanistic viewpoint is when anything happens, our spirit is communicating us and we're not getting it. So, okay, just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we had no sun in San Francisco. It was like the day the earth stood still. It was a wake-up call from the Mother Earth saying, it was the universe telling us the planet's warming up. This is what it's going to be like every day for years and years if you don't stop screwing around with the environment and accept climate change as a reality, and we have to adjust. We could spring back. We could immediately, we should have cut. We shouldn't shit on ourselves, but this should have happened like 10 years ago, but we took it to the 11th hour now. So we've got to definitely, I don't believe Donald Trump's going to be a president for 4 more years, or the Republicans for that matter, because they won't. If he does, then we're doomed. There's just no way the planet can, so we got to definitely treat this like a life and death situation, because it is. Again, where is she? Where is that girl? Gabby! Gabby, did you come over here to see me? Hey, what are you doing? Okay, I'm busy now. Okay, we'll kiss later. Can I have a kiss? Yeah, kiss. Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's enough. Gabby, got a bird on my shoulder. No more. Thanks for letting me indulge myself in my love life there, my beautiful girl. What does it say? The uncertainty principle. It tells that there is a fuzziness in nature, a fundamental limit to what we can know about the behavior of quantum particles and therefore the smallest of nature, like Newton's clockwork universe. Well, we all know that was where we went wrong. It's not a clockwork universe. It's totally expanding. We are one of zillions of universes. There's definitely evolved, more intelligent life out there. That's why they're keeping us away. I think they want to stay away from us as much as we want to stay away from them. Only it would be good for. There's aliens among us. Years ago, Ruth Montgomery wrote a book entitled that "Aliens Among Us." And actually, I thought I was a walk-in years ago when I had my spiritual. I left my body and came back so dramatic, so different. I obviously didn't know who I was. And I thought I was a walk-in until I met the psychic who told me nobody walked out. So let me see what y'all need to know about what's going on now. Okay, like Louise Hay, my mentor, used to say, you wouldn't go into a dumpster, God forbid, to make tonight's dinner. Don't go into old mental garbage to come up with today's reality. The past is over and done. They are free. I am free. And like I said, yeah, cutting out red meat, dairy, getting into a vegan lifestyle. That'll cut your odds of dying of cancer or all these other slew of diseases and strokes. But also, what's just as important is your attitude. You can't go along with that bug up your butt or that chip on your shoulder or this attitude like the world owes me a living. You got to cultivate humility. With humility comes greatness. Anybody gives you a compliment, turn it around and give it right back to them. Don't point that thing at me. Like I used to say to people, cut to the chase. Let's save that for your social life. Yeah, people who want a cure, provided they can have it without pain, or like those who favor progress, provided they can have it without change. We have it in our mind that somehow change is a bad thing, when actually, they've been saying it since the ancient Greeks. You can't step into the same river twice, but don't tell that to Donald Trump. He's a delusional. 1 minute of anger weakens your immune system for 4 to 5 hours. 1 minute of laughter boosts your immune system for over 24 hours. That's why I love living with Gabby. I mean, as much as she, can be annoying sometimes, I'll admit it. Especially when I'm thinking she thinks it's time to, bomb my head and stuff. But she makes me laugh. She can be so adorable. The world is full of good people. If you can't find one, be one. It's your road and yours alone. Others may walk it with you, but no one can walk it for you. Feel the rain on your own face. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can do that for yourself. Just the other day, I was talking to a friend of mine who's had a rough time with his health, open heart surgery. He's been HIV positive for decades. And like most people on HIV medicine, strokes come, and he suffered a lot of strokes. And I was talking to him the other day, and he's a sweet guy. And he was mentioning that it bothers him that these people he knows on welfare are driving big cars. And I said, and I just, I don't even go there. I just listen now, because I've already said to him, it's none of their concern. What bother is that? You're not God. They'll have to pay, what goes around comes around. Eventually they'll, in another life, have to repay for whatever they're getting apparently think they're getting away with. Like, do you think Donald Trump is he's a doomed soul? You should see him as a jewel as far as wisdom, as what, don't let this happen to you. When you hear the phrase, worse things can happen to men than death, flash on Donald Trump's big old mug, those clogged paws, that grotesqueness, this vile, sick man, but he's a precious jewel, because if we didn't have him, we'd have to invent him. Okay, I'm going to pick 9 cards for you all now. Boy, they just came right out. Let's see what my my friends need to hear now. And once again, thank you so much for supporting Public Access TV, and thanks for BAVAC, Bay Area Video Coalition. Even though I don't think they know that had letting Comcast get away with not tagging our shows was racist. I can't get them to understand that, but hopefully before this whole thing is over, they'll come to and understand. Or most people, like if you're watching this in San Francisco on Saturday night on Comcast, be aware that if you pick up your remote control and go to channel 29, or if you're seeing me on channel 76, it says local listings. It should say Psychic Frank's Mystery School. But Comcast wanted like $10,000 a month from BAVAC to provide that, continue providing that service to them. They knew exactly divide and conquer. They're in a way we should be complimented that Comcast is that threatened by cable access TV, but the fact is, cable access TV is made up of Latinos, blacks, people like myself. The pictures Norman Rockwell forgot to paint, and they it's a racist thing. Comcast is doing a racist thing, and nobody mentions it. Just like all the network stations, even Bill Maher, nobody mentioned that this Farwell, wasn't a cute little evangelicals having kinky sex. Oh, no. No, these are people who have blood on their hands, and we had a time, or hopefully it hasn't passed, where somebody other than myself is going to stand up and say, God damn these people, how dare we just, Megan, what's her name? Her father just died there, Republican, Megan, I can't even remember her name. I don't like her so much, but she's definitely, in her own words, I'm not a friend of the gay lesbian community. And she's pregnant now. She's going to have a kid any day now. What if that little boy or girl comes out to be gay? Or I feel sorry for that kid, being raised by Megan McCain. That's her name, Megan McCain. God, she's a witch, Again, if we didn't have these people, we'd have to invent them. We've incarnated in a time where paradigms are changing. This doesn't happen every day. There's a wonderful article here, Turning Point for the United States. Now, this is Mountain Astrology. You can get past issues if you get in touch with them. This is December 2019 and January 2020. But there's this really interesting article by Ray, Grasse, and it says Pluto returns in the Roman Empire, started around 2016, 2022 BC, EC or whatever. Then it talked about the second Pluto return, 416, leading to another period of turmoil that eventually resulted in the collapse of the Roman Empire altogether in 476. In simple terms, both of these returns represented dramatic periods of change, power struggles, and political instability. So we're evolving. We're always, that spiral's going around, but always wider and higher up. But to think that we're going to go there like a hot knife through cold butter and no resistance, people don't give up power. Look at the medical community, who should be penalized for outlawing hope. Without hope, there's no reason to live. Hope is essential, just like you need food or water. Human beings need something to hope for. Yeah, here we have, as I said, this is a great article. Pluto transits often involve contending with some unresolved darkness or transgressions from the past. Like I said on my last show, Carl Jung said, unless you bring conscious light to the unconscious, the subconscious, the rest of your life you'll be blaming fate. Well, that's what's happening now. We're in a healing crisis, and the subconscious, the sick part of the human psyche, the racist, the part that says, I got mine, good luck getting yours. Well, I've got so many good things. I want to lead this on an optimistic, get more optimistic here. So I got 9 cards in front of me. What we have in the center now is, the wind's going our way. Swords are mind and mental testing. Our enemies are walking away, and we got to see this as a victory of some sort. It would have been freaky if it hadn't happened this way. If Ruth Bader RBG hadn't uh, passed on. And here's the high priestess, queen of the angels. Yep, get ready for a spiritual awakening, friends. Um, Here's the celebration card. Souls are very happy now. And that's the way it is. Usually, when we're most uncomfortable and humanly more uncomfortable than we've ever been, it's when our souls are ecstatic, like, oh my God, thank you for taking us here. This is why we incarnated. See, if we don't have if without sadness or tragedy, we wouldn't appreciate the good. That's why this is a planet of black and white, the Earth School. Um, you protect what's ours now. This is it. There's all the fighting now. These are all the Trump people, and now valor, self worth, valor. That's a wonderful word. Yeah, valor. Okay, the world's just friends we haven't met yet. Ruth Gerda RBG. They asked. I saw an interview and they asked her how, as a woman, was she able to get through this court of men who had antiquated beliefs that women should be pregnant and barefoot, pretty much, seen but not heard. Uh, uh, just like right now, it's kill, ask questions later. Anyway, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, they had to deal with these men who, for generations, from the beginning of time, were the product of women are second-class citizens. And how do you get through to these lot of thick, established, wealthy, powerful men? And she very calmly said, I talked to them like I would a classroom of kindergartners, and I explained to them. I educated them like I would talk to it. So I guess if you're talking to a kindergarten kid, you don't scream and yell at them, you stupid moron. No, you lovingly say, no, sweetheart. Okay, let's say like the sun stopped the other day. We had a whole day of like this. It was surreal. I'll never forget it as long as I live. It was 11 o'clock in the morning. It could have very well been 11 o'clock at night on a full moon night. It was a very sad, sad day, and reminded me of what a nuclear winter would look like if we don't start disarmament of nuclear weapons. But I knew there was a gift there. Okay, so we got to. Now is when everybody's grateful at a banquet. Now we got to know exactly how to take good care of ourselves, how to nurture ourselves. Like I said, a vegan diet will double, quadruple your chances of leading a healthy, cancer-free life. Say it was your attitude. Like people said, well, Frank, I'm entitled to anger. Well, you're also entitled to all the diseases that's going to bring you. There's no such thing as justifiable anger. Like I know this woman who was raped by her brother for a decade growing up, and then she won, and then he tried to kill her. Tried to kill the parents, had them sign every. We're talking about a couple of $100 million here, and she actually won the case. And then they say, you want to see somebody's character, give them power or money. And once she got the money, she was like, instead of saying, wow, Frank, I'm so grateful now, I won't have any financial worries the rest of my life. To this day, I don't talk to her anymore. She thought it was more important that she get revenge on this brother. She hates him so much. And I realized, oh my God, you didn't get it, honey. All the money in the world. I was offering her a chance to jump off this wheel of Dharma that she's been on for how many lifetimes, and instead she threw me off the wheel of Dharma. So as I said, I shared that story with you because all of us have that same kind of thing going on some more or less degree of evolvement, where we have a choice now to, so many people my age were ripped off by greedy brothers and sisters whose parents had wills, and yet they got the better lawyer and ended up. And these people are drunk themselves to death, or are just walking around constantly about they took what was mine, instead of like, okay, I'm not condoning it, but now I just got to be happy and realize there's no lack in the universe. and somehow maybe that karma was going on. They say there's two theories of thought. You're either paying back karma or making new karma up. So yeah, this is a time now where we all need to listen to that little inner voice who said, "Laugh." It's even impossible, even with excuse me. I watch antenna TV these days, but even if you have cable TV, laughter is a period. If you should find something that strikes your funny bone, and it warms your heart, and it makes you feel all warm inside, and you go, "What?" It's the next second they're showing you some kid with an egg beater taken to his face at birth. The most hideous thing, hitting you up for money. You can't even walk out the street 2 doors out my front door with somebody hitting me up for money. Some needy, single, homeless person who's starving, So, as I said, even if you want, so we got to reform the whole network business. I've said on many of my shows, there's a connection between the advertising business and the people in the medical community. The medical community is powerful. They're not giving you a cure for cancer because there's no money in a cure for cancer. So remember, whenever you're hearing these people talk about, St. Jude's, I got to tell you a story. It's worth a couple of minutes. Years ago, my guys reminded me of this. Danny Thomas, Marlo Thomas's father. Marlo Thomas runs St. Jude's, who Danny Thomas, the comedian, started. Those of you guys probably think I'm a dinosaur, but I'm talking about early TV, 60s TV. Marlo Thomas, that girl, she ended up marrying Phil Donahue. And, so there was this, Phil Donahue was being interviewed in his home with Marlo Thomas, and he was talking about his father-in-law who had passed on, Danny Thomas. And he said, "Yeah, I was sitting in my father-in-law's living room, and he pulled out a scrapbook, and we were going through photographs of, his family, the family. And there was one picture of Danny Thomas on all fours playing horsey, and Marlo Thomas on his back, right, as toddlers do, And Phil Donahue said to Danny Thomas, "Who's that on your back?" And Danny Thomas looked at him and said, "The one that's on your back now." So that's my Marlo Thomas story, because every time I see this woman on St. Jude's, ignoring diet, nutrition, attitude, fear, worry, and all science, all the worst of Western medicine, like people, and because these are kids too, she's using the kids, to me, yeah, adults, but, when you're messing with a goddamn kid, leave the kids alone, So I have little respect for Marlo Thomas. I know a lot of people are, "Oh, Frank, she runs this institution." No, she's running a death mill is what she's doing, and there are a few survivors. But the fact is we danced around cancer for the last 70 years, as far as I can attest to, as far as I can remember. As soon as television came along, the Cancer Association was this close to a cure. And now 60, 70 years later, we're still, record numbers. And most people die from treatments. They tell you the statistic of how many hundreds of thousands of people are dying from this, and this. Now, how many people are dying from medical procedures? It's up there. It's up there. I don't want to throw out a number. I don't have it, but it's in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And how many knows unreported. And when they outlaw Roe versus Wade, which I don't think will happen, but good chance it will, young women of color, poor young women of any color, white, brown, purple, are all going to die from homemade abortions. I lived through this, but that's what it's going to take for people to wake up. I'm not condoning it, but, so be it. I'm the observer. When you become the observer, it says, "Stop acting so small. You are the universe in aesthetic motion. Self-doubt is one of the reasons we don't fulfill our dreams. We think how, while the universe is already preparing to make the dream a reality. We stay stuck in the smallness of how. Our job is not to worry about how. Our job is to dream and to dream big. Believe without a shadow of a doubt that it will materialize. So I've stuck around this long. I believe I haven't even reached middle age yet. I hope I'm right, because I'm on an endless journey through eternity. See, I had a thing here that said, I was looking for it just now, about becoming. It says, expand your consciousness. You're within your consciousness within. You're within consciousness. Activate the observer. Many call it the witness within. See, that's when you're bewildered and confused and you don't understand. Remind yourself, life's a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved. I'm living the mystery. And I came in to observe this. Knowledge is knowledge, but unless you experience, you could read about wars, you could watch movies about wars. Well, around a couple of decades ago, what was it, Bruckhauser or one of those Hollywood guys revolutionized Hollywood with explosions, blockbuster explosions. People would pay their hard-earned money to go into a packed movie theater and watch nonstop arms and legs falling all over the place. These amazing. Right now, as I said, I'm constantly, and Buddhist monks sort of are responsible for who I am today. Yeah, they say, strict Buddhist teachers, you shouldn't even watch people cook meat. Just watching a person prepare animal flesh on TV is polluting your consciousness. And to watch these murders, these snuff queens, they outlawed snuff pornography, where actually people made money out of sex that ended up killing people. They were photographing people having sex in which usually the woman died. It was called snuff porn, and they outlawed that, thank God. But now they're doing it with our subconscious. This stuff gets into the consciousness of kids. This whole thing of excitement is blowing up. God bless Fred Rogers. He blamed it all on the TV back in the 60s about Roadrunner. We all laughed, boom, but that's not how, like Yosemite Sam, he went boom, 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 shooting into town, I hate that cat. I'm going to shoot him. No, we don't teach our kids. You don't kill. Thou shalt not kill. You kill with words. It's important now, while we're fighting a legitimate monster, not to become a monster. Don't spoil your own, like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said. Don't let them drag you so low as to hate. Don't match their energy. Say, Donald, you disgusting slob, I love you. Yeah, you're a filthy, disgusting, horrible person, but I love you because I know there's a spark in you. Capiche? Yeah, so this was written in 2015. It's by a woman. I tried to find it again on the computer. I couldn't. Beatrice Poul, Pouligny. And she writes, for quite some time now, the energies around us have been bringing a lot of things up to the surface. Well, this was 2015. Well, they're at the surface now. A lot of things to the surface, at times in a rather radical way. The tragedies of the world have forced themselves like uninvited guests in the collective awareness, putting in our faces what we thought we could keep ignoring. You may have felt it also in your personal life. Well, I'm sure we have. San Francisco, for the last few mayors we have all been about taking away residents' rights. Corporations get away with murder, built this horrible phallic-looking building, monopolizes all downtown's view of the bay. It's called the Forced Sales Building. Forced Sales Building. And now they're saying the trend is nobody's going to go into offices anymore. And they're still building these high-rises, I think San Francisco, they have in mind for San Francisco a sort of like Monte Carlo for like the super 1%, but they don't understand. It's not going to be the way it was. Thank God. paradigm changes are happening. Nothing goes away until it teaches us what it came to teach us. So this virus is not going to go away until we stop creating these scenarios like endangered species that had these. There were these viruses that before they jumped to humans were very beneficial to certain animals in the animal kingdom that no longer exist because we have this war on insects. Insects are horrible things. Let's kill them. Kill insects. Um, so have spots on your apples. Just give me the birds and bees, okay? Joni Mitchell said that. Take paradise and put up a parking lot, Just dig where we are now. Okay, let me see what else I got going for you. So keep in mind, just as you could set your clock, election day is going to by the afternoon, by the almost 7 o'clock on election day evening, it'll be obviously that the election was rigged. And there'll obviously have to be a new election or something. I don't know how they're going to get out of it. And it's not my business to know. My business is to remain optimistic and say, good, they got caught. First you kill, and then you ask questions later has been the modus operandi of America. It used to be more subtle, granted, but now it's out in the open like racism, autocratic leaders, fascism. Yeah, all the clan. These people used to hide their faces. Now they're out there proud as a poop. Proud as a steaming hot pile of poop, I'm ignorant, and I hate anything that's not white. Lyndon B. Johnson said, you give the white man somebody to look down on, he'll empty your wallet to you. He'll give you his last penny. Just give him somebody to look down on. These people are living such horrible lives. Carl Jung said, parents, the trouble with the children is their parents are forcing them to live their dreams. They don't ask the kid, what do you want to do? How are you going to support me? What do you think I had you for? You're from my old age, man. We're pimping our kids, and then they wonder why, as I said, the reason we're in this, one of the reasons we're in, I don't want to, everything's like a multifaceted jewel. I just don't want to throw one thing out there. But the dissolving of the family started with the evangelicals, and then it continued. And then, as I said, when lawyers ruled now, the biggest lawyer, whoever kid could afford the best lawyer is the one that got that inheritance. So, lawyers are bought and paid for. Yeah, it's worth repeating. Because I'm so into health. So it's not, when you're thinking about what am I going to put in my body, what are you going to feed your mind? Is it nutritious? Is it a loving thought? Remember, if we're going to, we will, I'm not going to say if we're rallying through these changes that are happening, we have to definitely work with our attitude, It says, Thomas Paine, 1776 said, we have it in our power to begin the world again. James Baldwin said, we made the world we're living in and we can make it over. It's good now because all those old sons of bitches are dying off now, Never tell a young person that something can't be done. God may have waited centuries for someone ignorant enough of the impossible to do that very thing. That's so true. And an African proverb says, you don't have to be tall to see the moon. Yeah, I was so sad today. I was looking at Brianna, and I said, that's the daughter I wish I had had, if things were different. We all have many gifts that we've never opened. It's time to open some of yours. Find your wings, A boy found an eagle's egg and he put it in the nest of a prairie chicken. The eagle hatched and thought it was a chicken. He grew up doing what prairie chickens do, scratching on the dirt floor and flying short distances with a noisy fluttering of wings. It was a dreary life. Gradually, the eagle grew old and bitter. One day, he and his prairie chicken friend saw a beautiful bird soaring in the currents of air high above the mountains. "Oh, I wish I could fly like that," said the eagle. The chicken replied, "Don't give it another thought. That's the mighty eagle, the king of all birds. You can never be like him." And the eagle didn't give it another thought. He went on crackling and complaining about life. He died thinking he was a prairie chicken. My friend, you too were born an eagle. The Creator intended you to be an eagle, so don't listen to the prairie chickens. See, that's what we got. Donald Trump, a geek who used to bite the heads off of live chickens, a prairie chicken himself. Hurt people hurt people, and Donald Trump is the queen of the hurt people. See him as that. We who are living in the lap of luxury with our pitiful and little psychological problems have a tremendous responsibility to let our clarity and our heart, our warmth and our ability ripen to open up and let go, because it is so contagious. I want to talk about bodhicitta. Buddhism talks about bodhicitta, which means the awakened heart or courageous heart. Bodhicitta has the qualities of gentleness, persuasion, and openness, being able to just let go and open up. Specifically, the purpose of Tojin is to awaken or cultivate our bodhicitta, to awaken your heart and cultivate your courageous heart. It's like watering the seeds of a flower. You might feel that you have only that little thimbleful of courage, or you might feel that you won't have any courage at all, but the Buddha said, hogwash, everyone has bodhicitta, so maybe it's just a little sesame seed of the bodhicitta, but you do the practice. It's like watering that seed, which seems to grow and flourish. What's really happening is that it was there all along, being uncovered. Doing Dojin sweeps away the dust that has been covering over your treasure that has always been there. Traditionally, bodhicitta is compared to a diamond that's been covered over with tens of thousands of tons of mud for 2,000 years. You would uncover it at any point and it would still be a jewel, your heirloom. Bodhicitta is said to be very much like rich, creamy milk that has the potential of being butter. You have to do a little work to get the butterness to come out of the cream. You have to churn it. It's like also being compared to a sesame seed full of oil. You have to do a little pounding to get the oil, but it's already there. See, so we already have this bodhicitta, this wonderful person who wants to do these wonderful things. Let it happen, Go out of your way to leave somebody, get out of your own body and help some, instead of criticizing. It's one thing to point out the obviously, this is shit, this is shinola. But it's another thing to, go on and on about it. And then he's going to put this one on the Supreme Court. No, that's running too much yin. We've got to keep that yin-yang balance, because Mars in Libra is activating all that Libra energy, and Libra is all about balance. So it's all about, be here now and make a gratitude list. Sit down, put a pencil in your hand and start, I'm alive. Thank God I'm a sentient being. I could feel this now. They say if you can walk, you can dance. If you can talk, you can sing. You know what I found myself doing recently? I'm walking around the city with my mask on, doing my daily shopping or whatever I'm doing out there. It's like a ghost town. Everything's boarded up, more and more boarded up every time I go out there. And somehow I can't stop singing, and I'm walking around. There's nobody around me, and my song, I'll repeat it, I'm living in San Francisco. It's my favorite city. I remember being in high school, 15 in art class, and dreaming about. I remember talking to my art teacher. She's, obviously dead now. And I said something about, I want to be in San Francisco. I was only 14, 15 years old, but I knew I was. And so that's why, as I said, the city ruined me for any place else. I love the city so much. So I'm walking around going, I'm living my dream. I'm in San Francisco. I'm a psychic living in San Francisco. Everybody knows who I am. I'm respected and loved. People, strangers come up to me and tell me how much they love me. Now, no amount of money, nobody can give you that feeling of what another human being can give to you. Never mind animals. When you communicate with an animal, animals are living things. They're humans. To me, they're conscious beings. So yeah, all they have to do is just pick up the rags, and there it was. We all do Trojan. Yeah, just clean up. As I said, it's beginning of autumn now. Let's see what else we have here. I have a few other things. We only have a few more minutes. Don't worry. Don't try to control or merge with everything you see. This brings tranquility, stability, and harmony. No, that's not it. Uh, well, I guess I had something here, but I can't find it now. Uh, no, that's not it. Thank you. Oh, yeah, this was really good. Chiron, the wounded healer planet. He was only discovered not too long ago, but there's something here I thought was very interesting. Melanie Reinhardt. This was written in 89, I believe, in the early 80s. And and that's why she talks about the whole Chiron configuration is the half man, half man or half woman, and half horse, representing our animal nature and how to evolve it. Uh, this I thought was very interesting. It's a book by Mark Hansen, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. Can you see it there? The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, blank, 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 ends in a K. Uh, and he talks about something in the 60s, sometime in the 60s, developing higher self esteem, having positive thoughts and feelings about oneself became all the rage in psychology. Research found that people who thought highly about themselves, like Donald Trump, generally performed better, caused fewer problems. And then he goes, Great inflation, for example, was, yeah, that's what happens now. When I was on Facebook, a few of my friends are professors at Boston U, and it confessed to me that after examinations, there's when the work starts. That's when they have to come in and reevaluate their grades. Like kids are in happy with the grades they get, so they have to sit with the professor and reevaluate that grade. That wasn't going on when I was in school. They gave you a D, you went home and got the shit beat out of you, you know? The worst part of Donald believed his own bullshit. His delusion was so bulletproof, it was honestly hard to get mad at him. He was actually kind of amazing. Yeah, Jimmy, he talks about this guy, Jimmy. He's all talk and no walk. Yeah, they talk about Jimmy, but you could substitute the word Jimmy with Donny. The catch was that Donald was so also totally a deadbeat. All talk and no action, stoned a majority of the time. He's drunk on power. Jimmy was a professional leech, living off his family's hard-won money. Well, in Donald's case, it was racist money, by spitting them as well as everybody else in the city on false ideas and future tech glory. Yeah, that's Donald Trump. The worst part of him is that he believes it. Then he goes, pastors and ministers told their congregations that they were each uniquely special in God's eyes. They were destined to excel and not to be average. See, businesses and motivational seminars cropped up chanting the same paradoxical mantra. Every single one of us can be exceptional and massively successful. But it's generations later that the data is in. We're not all exceptional. It turns out that merely feeling good about yourself doesn't really mean anything unless you have good reason to feel good about yourself. In turn, it turns out that adversity and failure are actually useful, even necessary for development, strong-minded, successful adults. See, this is important. It turns out that teaching people to believe they are exceptional and to feel good about themselves no matter what doesn't lead to population full of Bill Gates and Martin Luther Kings, at least, or populations of Donald Trumps. Trump, the delusional startup founder, was drunk every day and had no real marketable skills. Yeah, he's been delusionally drunk on power. Entitled people. That's what's going to happen, you know. These kids are going to have to buy air to breathe, and they're going to say to their grandparents, why did you do this to us? No, we were drunk on gas. We were drunk on oil, honey. Yeah. Yeah, we said we love you, but, you know, we only loved ourselves and our own comfort, you know. You gotta, when next time you're playing with your kids, dig what I'm saying. Entitled people exude a delusional degree of self-confidence. This confidence can be alluring to others, at least for a little while. In some instances, the entitled person's delusional level of confidence can become contagious and help the people around the entitled person feel more confident in themselves. See, that's what happened right now to the Trump supporters. Despite all of Donny's shenanigans, we have to admit that it was fun hanging out with him. Sometimes you felt indestructible around him, but the problem with entitlement that it makes people need to feel good about themselves all the time, even at the expense of those around them. And because entitled people always need to feel good about themselves, they end up spending most of their time thinking about themselves. After all, it takes a lot of energy and work to convince yourself that your shit doesn't stink, especially when you're actually been living in a toilet. You could paint it gold. Donald, I like to Mitch McConnell. I'd like to say something. John Lennon actually said it. One thing you can't hide, Mitch McConnell, is when you're crippled inside. So you might have been a crippled kid with polio, and you apparently got, but now you got polio with the brain. You are crippled inside, Mitch McConnell. Go away, spend your ill-gotten gains, and get out of our face. We've got it. We got it now. I wish you no harm, because what you're creating for yourself, if you ever get another incarnation, God forgive me. But as I said, I got to practice what I preach. Thank you for being alive, Mitch McConnell, because it's your spiteful meanness and sadistic disregard for human beings that makes me a better person. So thank you for that. I love all of you. Gabby, say goodbye. Say thank you, honey. Oh, I love this bird. Yeah, see, she said thank you. I love you. I love you. And thanks for your time. I know it's precious and I really appreciate it. I do these 2 times a month, so I'll be talking to you beginning of next month. Let's keep a good thought for each other. Make our courage bigger than our fears. Thank you. I love you so much. Yes. I love you. Bye.